All right, this week, folks, I'm going to jump right into it. I've been watching the news for the last week or two, and I've been seeing a lot of stuff on TV, and it's really been weighing heavy on my heart. I guess what I want to say this time is that America needs men to step up because the problem in one area is not a regional problem, it's not a Baltimore problem, it's not a Ferguson problem, it's an American problem. And the real problem is that a lot of these young men out there don't have role models. They don't have options. They don't have ways that they see that they can make a way for themselves. They don't see a good opportunity. They don't see a path to success. And those of us who do have success don't really make ourselves available to those who could benefit from talking to us, from us listening to them, to see what they have to say. Because when we were growing up, we had men who were in the churches, the volunteer groups, the youth groups, the camp counselors, who we could look up to and we wanted to be like. We thought they were cool. Yeah, they could play ball. Maybe they could rap. Maybe they could sing. But some of these guys were just regular, cool guys. And we looked up to them. And they were there feeding us at these camps. They were there mentoring us at these different volunteer events that our single moms would drop us off. These men helped shape us. The band directors, the church leaders, the pastors, the friends at church. I've had so many different men step into my life and do these nice things for me that they had no obligation to do. No real reason to do, but just to show support for someone that they saw had no father in his life. And I didn't have a father present when I grew up. But my mom made sure that I was around men that I could look up to and be around. And it just wasn't family. There were so many people that stepped in to help show me. And they weren't even trying to mentor me on purpose. They weren't trying to necessarily show me the way. They weren't necessarily trying to keep me from crime or any of that. They were just doing what was right. They took me to the circus. They bought me ice cream. They took me to see a basketball game. They took me fishing. And what I'm saying, we as men, and I'll speak for myself here, I have not done that. I was the beneficiary. I benefited from someone doing that in my life. And now that I'm older, I find myself lacking. And maybe that's the reason why we have our young men acting the way they're acting now. There's no guidance. There's no guidance from regular, normal people. I'm not talking about another Martin Luther King. I'm not talking about another preacher. I'm not talking about any other politician. I'm talking about regular, normal guys that are assistant coaching at their school's basketball, that are involved in the PTA. And if you're doing that as a man, congratulations and kudos to you. Keep doing that. But for those who aren't, including myself, we as men need to step up to be more present in the lives of the young men in our community. It can't just be beating up on the parent that isn't there. It can't just be beating up on the teachers at school. It can't just be beating up on the pastors of these churches. It can't just be beating up on politicians and the government. It has to come from us, regular or everyday people like us that volunteer our time and sacrifice our weekend and maybe put a little more focus on our community versus trying to make that extra dollar. And I understand that you got to grind, you got to make the money. I get it. I've been doing it for so long, I've kind of lost track of all the time. But now that I realize that I'm older, I realize that I have not really given back the way all those young men and those older men gave back to me when I was coming up. And if it were not for them, I have no idea where I'd be. Because my mom could not do it on her own. She was an amazing mother. She is an amazing mother, but she could not have done it on her own. I had to see that there were men around me that made me feel safe and secure, and that they had my back, and that they cared about me, that they may have fussed at me, but they ultimately had my back and they cared for me. And my question to y'all is, do the young men today feel like we have their back? If not, then maybe it's time that we do. Let's show our community. Let's show our young men. Let's show our young women. Let's show our women that we care Let's step up as men. Let's get more involved. Let's see beyond our own situation and our own paper chase. Let's give back. Let's do something, anything, whatever it is, I'll leave that in your hands. But this is a call to action for not only you, but for me as well. We can't stand to just sit back in our homes and watch TV and see this world unfolding. We have to get out there and change it ourselves. All right, so that's it. I done talked too long already. Next week will probably be a lot more lighthearted, but I just had to get that off my heart. And I'll see you guys next week.